Junction, junction, what's your function? That song in elementary school got me up and moving every single time. Now, teaching grammar to elementary students can be tricky. Not knowing what to teach or how to keep your students engaged can have even the most veteran teacher frustrated. But in today's video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips for keeping your students engaged while teaching grammar. Stay tuned. What's up, educational rock stars? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Farah, and here at Farah Henley Education, we strive to bring you actionable tips and strategies for you to take into your classroom to make your teacher life a little easier, and today's video is no exception. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much. We are so excited that you are here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on that bell so that you get notified when we upload new content or go live here on the channel. Now, teaching grammar in elementary school was actually one of my favorite things to do. I love using old videos from like Schoolhouse Rock, as I shared in the beginning of this video, to teach grammar to my students. But the most important thing that you want to remember, and our first tip, is that you always want to start at the beginning, at the basics. This is especially true when you are teaching grammar in elementary school. You want to make sure that you're building a great foundation of those basic skills, which are going to lead to mastery, so that the rest of the skills are easier to teach and easier for your students to master. For example, your students might not need to know that an adverb modifies a verb, an adjective, or even another adverb. Maybe you just need to start with the basics that an adverb modifies a verb. Start with that basic foundation before moving on to the more complex ideas. Another way to do this, and starting with a basic idea, is the idea of just a noun and what is a noun. And you can teach your students that a noun is a person. Then you can teach them that a noun is also a place. Then you can teach them that it is also an idea. And then you can have your students do a scavenger hunt where they'll go into books or newspapers or magazines, and they can do searches for these nouns that you have now taught them what they are. This can either be done as an individual activity or during group time. I love to give this task to my students during silent reading time, and I would also give them a reading response sheet where they could write down their answers of what they were supposed to be working on during their silent reading, so that I knew that they were engaged and they were actually doing the activity. You can find a link to some silent reading response sheets in this description down below. One of the best things that you can do when teaching any concept, especially grammar, is our tip number 2, and that is revisit it often. You can do this through something like Spiral Review, a review game like Squares Your Brain, or even through your literacy centers in your classroom. You'll find links down below to our 1st through 4th grade literacy centers, as well as some Squares Your Brain games that you can use to help solidify grammar topics with your students. A lot of teachers fall into the trap of teaching a concept and never revisiting it again, or expecting students to just automatically have a grasp of that concept. This is why Spiral Review is so important. Spiral Review helps you continually revisit those topics and those basic skills that your students are going to need in order to form mastery on the more complex topics. Again, you can find links down in the description below to Spiral Review so that you can help your students maintain the review that they need on these basic topics. Just like you would use a math journal to help your students have something to turn to when they are looking for a resource to be able to pull information from, you can use a grammar journal as well so that your students have a place to go to refresh their memory on topics and basic skills that they have learned before. In this grammar journal, which is our tip number 3, you can have your students write down basic notes. They can complete activities. They can complete different types of assessments inside their journal that they will always have to be able to go back to and, review material that they've already learned before. It's kind of like a teacher taking notes during professional development. We take those notes so that we have a resource to go back and refresh our memory of information that we didn't necessarily, commit to memory right there in the moment. By using a grammar journal with your students will always have a place to go back to so that they can refresh their memory on those basic topics and ideas. Now, there are a couple of ways that you could do these grammar journals. You could actually have a physical journal, a notebook that students are cutting and pasting and putting things into, or you can even do it digitally. We love the platform Seesaw for students to be able to show their work, and using Seesaw as a digital journal or digital grammar journal for your students would be amazing. Check out the link down below to see how you can use the platform Seesaw in your classroom. In addition to using these as a digital journal, you could also put them into your learning centers. And again, you could have students complete learning centers activities and record their work, their answer that they're doing with that learning center activity in their grammar journal. So if you put a center activity into your literacy centers, then you are going to be able to have that right there in one place, your students' work that they completed in that center. And it also makes it easier for you as a teacher to grade that work when you just collect their journals instead of having papers floating everywhere. Now, just like I started this video, our tip number 4 is to bring back the oldies. And one of my favorite places to look is Schoolhouse Rock. We haven't talked much about punctuation, but punctuation is one of those basic grammar skills that we have to teach our students in elementary school. And Schoolhouse Rock has some amazing videos and songs that are catchy that you can use with your students to help them remember the basic functions of punctuation. This older teaching tool has catchy tunes that your students are going to remember for years to come. I'm proof. And if you're using Google Classroom, you can even assign these videos to your students right there inside your Google Classroom to where they just simply click a link and watch the video. And your students are going to learn their grammar skills in no time. Now, tip number 5 obviously has to do with writing, because if you're teaching grammar in elementary school, you are going to be doing some writing. When your students are doing their writing assignments, make sure that you set some basic standards or some basic expectations for what you want your students to use in their writing. For example, if you've been teaching verbs or adverbs, maybe you're going to ask them to write a certain number of sentences that contain an adverb. One of my favorite things to do is to take my students through a genius ladder game where they take a very basic sentence that has a simple verb and noun, and they're going to walk it up the ladder, and each step they're going to be adding a different component, whether it's an adjective to the noun, an adverb to the verb, or maybe if they get to those top levels, they're even adding prepositional phrases. This is a great activity for your students to use in editing as well if they have their physical ladder where they know, hey, I've got a basic sentence in my paragraph. I need to take that out, walk it up the ladder, and make it a more complex sentence. I've even used this with my kindergartners. It is super simple. It's a hands-on activity. And once your students know how to use it, it is a great activity for them to do on their own in their grammar journal. Now, tip number 6 is you've got to have fun. Just like anything in teaching elementary students, if you make it fun, students have more fun learning, and they're going to retain that information a lot easier because you made it fun. So make sure you are making grammar fun in your classroom. One thing I really love to do in my classroom, as most elementary school teachers have, is they have a word wall. And I like to make my words on my word wall different colors. For example, I might make nouns blue, I might make adjectives red, and I might make verbs green. And so switching up those colors makes it a little bit more fun, and it helps your students distinguish between what is a noun, what is a verb, what is an adjective. So it's just another way for you to make learning fun and put a little color in your classroom. Now, I might be telling my age here, but another fun game for you to play with your students is Mad Libs. I love finding Mad Libs that are appropriate for the younger ages, where they have to plug in an adverb or an adjective or a noun here or there, and it makes funny stories. This is a way for your students to practice being able to pull certain parts of speech out of their head and from memory and put it into a story that makes it super funny, and we always have fun sharing those funny stories after they're done. Now, teaching elementary students grammar can be super difficult for a variety of reasons, but if you start at the basics, have a little fun, your students are going to love learning grammar in your classroom. Now, if you're looking for more tips and strategies for your classroom to make your teacher life a little easier, be sure and check out the videos on your screen. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so that you get notified when I go live or upload a new video to the channel. Thanks for watching, and keep being an educational rock star.